Hi guys and girls, I'm Obsidian Ant and welcome to Exploring Elite Dangerous episode 39. I'm right out here, as you know, on the opposite side of the galactic core, and I'm trying out a few planetary landings here. This is a high metal content world, a very good place for picking up resources for synthesis in order to power both your ship and your SRV. Now, I'm not doing it just yet, but in short order I will be wanting to pick up some synthesis items so I can boost my FSD jump drive and hopefully get back home to Earth that much faster. It may also help me get to those systems that are normally hard to reach, or perhaps even impossible to reach under normal circumstances. Here is a point of interest, another wreck no doubt, but we know now, we've had confirmation from Frontier that there are indeed other things out here to find. Unfortunately, I don't have an SRV with me, and no cargo hold space either, so I cannot collect these canisters and I can't even target them, so I don't know what's in them. Maybe it's something extremely rare, who knows. At any rate, this was as good a time as any to do a bit of canyon running. Now, getting a bit too fast down and close to the surfaces here can be a bit risky. I've trashed a ship more than once doing this during beta, but I'm willing to give it a go even though I am still 30,000 light years away from home. I guess if I do have an accident, it will be one quick trip back. Now, you may have noticed that the colours and the textures here look slightly different. I've finally taken to running a graphics mod again, and this time I'm using EDFX, and there's an interstellar profile based on the colours from the Interstellar movie, and it's pretty nice. Although sometimes the ambient lighting can be a bit too bright, on which occasions I'll need to turn it off. Looking down here again reminds me that, as I mentioned earlier, I'd love to go out and collect some materials for some synthesis crafting, but without an SRV, I'm not going to be able to do that. A few systems away, I come across this planet here with a very close orbiting moon. This one is a high metal content planet, but one with atmosphere. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to land there then. One of the big changes in Horizons is that on the dark side of the planets, they're no longer actually pitch dark. You get a lot of ambient light there, meaning that basically you don't get the same blackness and the silhouette or the eclipse effect that you once got from the stars. A bit of a shame in some ways, and here you can see that ambient lighting effect in motion. As we pull away from this moon here, you'll see it actually start darkening off a little bit. And whilst I was close to the surface there, that was actually on the dark side of this planet. Got to take into account though that I'm right near the galactic core, so there will be a lot of light coming from that. A few more systems across, I found this system, and this one looked to have a number of water worlds. So with Horizons here now, I'm actually looking out for a variety of different things. One thing I really do want to find is a world or a moon orbiting very close to an Earth-like, allowing me to get an Earthrise when I'm down on the surface. In fact, any moon or planet that actually orbits very close to its parent body is usually quite a spectacular thing to see, and I make a point of checking moons and their gas giants. So the initial water world, or the planet that I thought was going to be a water world in this system, turned out to be another high metal content planet. Deceptive colouring a little bit on the system map, but sometimes that's just the way it goes. Further into the system though, there was indeed a water world, although that was pretty much obvious from the system map, because those type are always instantly recognisable. Carrying on then, looking for an interesting place to land, I continued to jump from system to system. I'm still quite a long way from the next nebula, something I'm quite keen to see. There's some very big nebula out here, some of them in very unusual and striking colours, and they are going to make for some stunning surface vistas. Still a few thousand light years away from one of them, so I'll just have to keep on travelling. However, here is one of those planet types I was actually seeking out, a moon orbiting very close to a parent body. Both of these are actually ice worlds. This one here, as you can see, is significantly larger. They are orbiting perhaps a little bit closer than I'd expect them to be able to. Planets and moons are bound by what's known as the Roche limit. And this is where if a moon gets too close to a larger planet, the gravitational forces will actually start to pull it apart. Here you can see the overbloom, the overbrightness effect going on from EDFX there in the core in the background. The core is actually very bright anyway, so it's kind of natural to see this, but I'd like to see it reduced somewhat. But I'd still like to have a drive around on a surface this close to the galactic core. Once again, it's a shame there's nowhere out here to get hold of an SRV with. It wasn't too long before I come across a point of interest. I wasn't actually seeking one out on this occasion, it just happened by. So I thought I might as well check it out. Now, of course, it's a wreck, but as I said earlier, we do know that there's other points of interest out this way, although I'm a bit dubious and curious as to why there's so many shipwrecks this far out into uninhabited space. There was actually a really interesting point raised about the recent release of the Horizons trailer. At one point, there's an SRV driving past what looks like alien outpost or an alien bunch of technology. And it would seem that that's perhaps another hint that aliens are coming in the Horizons season. Further around the planet, I found this really interesting mountain range here. A lot of planets actually have mountain ranges on them, but none of them look quite as good as they do on ice worlds. Here you get all sorts of hues, colours and textures, largely caused by the amount of scattering of light due to the ice. At this point, you're seeing the core again in the distance there. It actually seemed to beckon me. I'm slightly on the outer edges of it here, not right in the centre of it. I've been actually keen to avoid flying back through the centre, due to the fact that navigation through it can be very, very slow. But with the ability to land on planets now, it could actually prove to be very interesting indeed. I guess if I don't actually go through the centre of it, I will skirt the very outer edges to try and get the extreme star density that exists there. That, combined with some nebula, should provide for some very interesting locations to scout out and take a look at. On the horizon there, you can see the effect of the lighting that I was actually talking about just now, and how in some areas it actually causes the ice to look quite different. There's this planet's moon then, and it was time to actually travel over there and then look back at this planet to see it hanging on the horizon. I'll let you have a look at that journey in peace, and I'll be right back with you. Fairly brief trip there then, but my filming shenanigans actually caused me to come in a little bit too steep here, and I lost the ability to glide down to the surface. Quite glad though that I didn't crash headlong into the surface though. That would have been a little bit unfortunate. I think it's somewhat unlikely to happen though, because of the way that the ship actually pulls you out of orbital cruise. Over on this moon I actually had to turn off the graphics mod. You can see here me switching between it on and off, and it just gives you an idea of how sometimes it overcompensates for the amount of light in the area. All in all, it seems that planetary landing, at least in terms of the amount of areas we can take a look at, is shaping up to be very nice on this side of the galaxy. For now though, that brings us to the end of this video. In the next episode of Exploring Elite Dangerous, I'll try and find a nebula for you to take a look at. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time. Elite Dangerous Horizons is finally with us. Before I fully get into this episode, here then are a few of my highlights from the past couple of weeks.